Hello, hello, hello. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. This is going to be fabulous, I promise. It's going to be a group energy healing where I heal 141 people in 11 different countries. Let me confirm. I think it's 11 or 12 countries. 11 different countries. And this is the first in the set of 2 healings called the March Twin Set of 2025. And we're still working this very awesome and complex and fun theme, wisdom, vitality, and inner child. And so I'm going to go ahead and talk. Oh, thanks for my confirmation and the adorable emojis. Oh, yes. And before we do anything else, happy first day of spring, everybody. We made it through winter. You'll forgive me, any Australian clients that are listening, which I do not have many clients in Australia. I would love to have more though. So if you're listening from Australia, feel free to say hi. But anyway, for most of my clients, it's been winter and it is not anymore. Woohoo! So that's delightful. But let's get down to what we're doing today. Okay, so today's techniques and concepts. So the theme is wisdom, vitality, and inner child, right? So there are going to be 3 main techniques today. One for each of those things. One for wisdom, one for vitality, and one for inner child goodness. So I'll list them in order. So let's see. So the first one I'll discuss is I'm calling clear motivation confusion, and it's to help with wisdom. So your 4th chakra is what, if you had to pick one chakra that generates motivation, I would pick the 4th chakra in the center of the chest. It's for motivation, enthusiasm, self-love, self-care, all sorts of really good things. Makes you feel good, like an uplifting sort of glass half full perspective. So I was looking at one of the people that I'll be healing, and she doesn't have an issue with getting her wisdom from her 7th chakra or from her 8th chakra, like the 8th chakra connection, like higher self, kind of eternal wisdom. She doesn't have a problem with that. The problem she has is she got a bunch of energy. She took on copies of what her dad was stuck on when she was little. When she was little, she took on, and it's very common that people do this. They take on why is daddy upset? Why is mommy anxious? Whatever, and they take on a copy. A lot of kids take on a copy of their parents' pain or, just what they're really stuck on, all the blocks. And so she has that in her 4th, and the 4th is what's supposed to make you motivated and like this inner cheerleader stuff. But it's like she's trying to live, she's confused, because she doesn't have just her own concerns in here. She has her dad's concerns in here from when she was a kid, and her mom's concerns too. So it's like she kind of loses her direction. she's got it here, she's got it here, she's got it here, but then here it just is like, you know, people say things like, well, you know, they're an overgiver, or they try to make other people happy, a people pleaser. You know, it's kind of like, this is the technical version of that, where you just have other people's junk in here in your fourth, and so your fourth is too confused. If you had like one map of what you need to do, what's important to you, you know, then you could take action, right? But if you don't, and you have what's important to a whole bunch of different people, then you just end up going in circles and not really knowing what to do. So that's what we're gonna work on, basically unblocking the fourth chakra and the fourth layer, but specifically to clear out other people's pain, other people's blocks, so that your motivation is not confused. You have a clear motivation towards one person's set of goals, your goals. So I hope that makes sense. So that's basically that. We're unblocking the fourth layer and fourth chakra of both astral and physical body. But we'll see how we do it. We could just put out blocks, whatever blocks are making your motivation confused. But we could also like physically directly do fourth layer and fourth chakra unblocking. We may do both. We'll see. So that's that. Then the next thing, I'm going to make the banner for that. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the next thing has to do with doing exercise and stretching to help vitality. You know, mobility and working your mobility and literal muscle strength gets even more important as you age. And, you know, to give a personal example, I didn't really work out when I was in my 20s, but I had pretty nice muscles, I thought. You know, it was not a problem. It was just kind of there, you know. Maybe it happened because I went out dancing. Maybe it just was because I was young. I did go on walks, but like not really on purpose, you know. So just by living life and not even thinking about it, I had what I felt were a satisfying level of muscles and muscle tone. Now that I'm in my mid-50s, if I were to just live life and not think about muscles and muscle tone and flexibility and stretching and working out, I would pretty much look like somebody who's spent way too long in a refugee camp. Like, I am not kidding you. Like, it's pretty shocking. And I guess that's because it's medical reasons. It's not like a, you know, psychic thing. It's just like literally your body, when it ages, the muscles, you have to like work to keep up the muscles and the flexibility and the strength and all that good stuff, right? So, that's part of vitality, right? You know, if you just don't do anything and you live a sedentary life, which I was doing pretty much in my 20s, but you know, if you do that in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, it's not going to work out so well. So being able to exercise, being able to do stretches to the extent that your body is able to do, you know, obviously if you're in a wheelchair, then you're not going to be maybe doing leg stretching, you know, you're going to be doing some level of physical therapy, but not the same as someone else could do, right? But if you have blocks that trigger when you are thinking of doing exercise or actually doing exercise or thinking of doing stretching even, then it's going to contribute to you not doing it or not doing it regularly enough. And there's a lot of examples that I can see in people that I'm going to be healing of you know, what can trigger. You know, for example, one guy I was looking at, he has his mother's fear of him being injured from when he was, you know, first learned to walk and then like really walked well, you know, as like a 3-year-old and was just running all over the world. You know, his mother was like so nervous that he was gonna just, you know, like in her mind, you know, he was about to run off a cliff, you know. So she was like, ah, you know, trying to keep him safe, but she accidentally put her fears in his space in an invasive way. I mean, accidentally, kind of, you know, she didn't really realize that it would affect him in his, you know, adult life and make him not want to do stretches or exercise. You know, so we can clear these things out though. We can clear out other people's energy and your own baggage around exercise. Another example is sometimes people have socioeconomic judgments about exercise and physical work having to do with like physical labor and how like more wealthy people often have more sedentary ways of earning a living, whereas less wealthy people often have more physically oriented jobs, physically demanding jobs. So sometimes people therefore like sort of internalize judgments against being physical and valuing physical fitness and physical activity because they're like, well, that's for, you know, poor people. That's for, you know, thank goodness I don't have to do that. You know? And so accidentally, maybe, you know, either you were raised by somebody like that or raised by somebody like that in a past life, or in this life you have some judgments like that, or you know what I mean? Like it's just there's social judgments sometimes in people's spaces against being physically fit and thinking about that and exercising and working physical activity in you know, making it an integral part of your lifestyle. So that's one of the bigger things that we're going to do today is work on, you know, even just for exercise and stretching, what triggers when you think of that and when you think of doing it or when you do it. Like, for example, another example is like, say like when you stretch, you know, there's a level of discomfort when you're stretching a muscle, right? And obviously you don't want to push it to the point where you're actually in pain. But there's a level of, you know, discomfort that's actually appropriate when you're stretching because you're, you know, you're literally stretching muscles and you know, it's, you're not supposed to do it to the level that you don't feel it. You're supposed to stretch to the level that you do feel it, right? However, if you have some, you know, some of this baggage in your space, you may think, oh, that's pain, that's bad. You see what I'm saying? So it's important to clear the irrational, non-logical things out of your space so that you don't shy away from that, you know, the physical sensations that happen when you're exercising and you're stretching. I hope that makes sense. Then we can all live healthier, more vital lives. Woohoo! All right. So then the third thing trying to trying to figure out what's the simplest way to describe it. Hold on. Sorry. Mm. Okay. So this has to do with happy inner child stuff, and we will be helping your inner child self in certain ways directly. Like the classic thing to help happy inner child stuff is to heal your wounded inner child parts, right? Heal the parts of you that are stuck in a child space and unhappy or wounded, right? So we should do a little bit of that today, but that's not really the point, the main point of today, and how we're going to help with the sort of inner child area of the theme today. Although we will do that. We will heal some wounded inner child stuff. But I was looking at somebody I'm healing, and for them, they've been getting these healings. So their inner child, they have a lot of happy inner child energy and less wounded inner child energy, which is what you want, right? But if you heal the wounded child parts of you, some of it becomes just adult you, so you kind of rebalance so that you don't have an unhealthy level stuck in like a child mentality, But at some point, you probably will still have a happy inner child self, that's part of you. So still in a more childish kind of a way, with innocence and playfulness and spontaneity, but happy, right? But if you don't have a happy adult self, then that's a problem. Because I was looking at this one person, which, is not uncommon, that she has a lot of happy inner child energy and she has a lot of adult energy, but it's not so happy. So her adult self has mostly her husband in her space, but some other relatives as well. A bunch of other relatives. So her adult self doesn't really feel very confident and able to make decisions, because everyone's in her adult self space. So sometimes she retreats to her inner child space. And a happy inner child knows what they want typically. If you can imagine, like a happy 3-year-old, a happy 4-year-old, they want something with all their heart and soul. Like, I want ice cream, or I want, to run, or I want to laugh, or I want to jump up and down, or I want to nap. Not usually, but it could happen. But you see my point. So if your adult self can't make a decision and is unhappy, and your inner child self knows perfectly well what she wants, then what can happen is your inner child self makes more decisions than is probably ideal for you. And maybe you'll, watch too much Netflix or whatever, or just eat the wrong kind of foods very often, or whatever, And so we touched on it in the last healing about who's in charge, your adult self or your child self. And in charge, not in a dominant, oppressive way, but in a way that the adult self has a expanded capability to make decisions and to, prioritize and understand, long range and short range planning and all that. A happy inner child wants what they want, and it's mostly like here and now, and that's it. So anyway, so what we're going to do is unblock both those sides, the happy inner child side and the adult self side. Mostly, though, we'll be clearing out your adult self, of other people's junk, so that your adult self can be confident. Your adult self can be, dare I say, happy. Your adult self can make decisions and choices. So then it's not like you just kind of give up and let your inner child run the show all the time. It's good to have like a blend of both, but then your adult self is in charge so that you can make sure you're weighing things and deciding with your wisdom. So I hope that makes sense. So we will directly heal wounded inner child self just because why not, you know, and some people didn't get the triplet set this month, so they might really, really need it. But then we'll work on making the adult self happy too. Happy, confident, able to make decisions. Because if you have a happy inner child like this person, but your adult self is really unhappy and feeling smushed and oppressed, then it's very odd. You know, like you'll get this weird pleasure out of escapist, maybe child decisions, but it won't really be a happy. It'll be like I'm screwing myself, but I'm enjoying it. Like it's like a self-destructive happy if you aren't making adult choices and decisions. So we want, you know, we don't want the unhappy adult part of you to sort of mess up the party, right? We want to heal and unblock the adult self part of you. So then that part of you is the one making the choices and the decisions. So then both parts of you can have joy and both parts of you can feel liberated. And then the adult self kind of makes it all work, you know, figures out the choices. Hope that makes sense. Oh, right. So it's kind of like if I had to shorten that, it would be happy adult self. That's really the main thrust of it. Is like, you know, because if your adult self is miserable, you don't really feel the joy of your inner child exactly. It's like this weird sort of pleasure torture kind of weirdness. So if we get the adult self happier, then it's more of an actual joy that you could have, and then you don't have to be self-destructive. Hope that makes sense. All right, so that's today. That's all. All right, so oops. Oh, so sales notes. One thing that's not exactly a sales note is a thumbs up request. I noticed, like I get a lot of views on these videos, but not comparatively. The thumbs up ratio is fairly low, but people watch them. They just don't give them a thumbs up. So if that's you, please consider adding the thumbs up to your routine, because it really does help the videos. So that's the first thing. But then sales notes, well, that's my website address, jwhealing.com. And I just recently, a couple days ago, put up on the 15th, I put up May healing sets for sale, which is still pretty mind-blowing for me that May is in 2 months. But today's the first day of spring, so that's it. May is coming. But anyway, so, and there are April healing sets also available for sale on my website. So April and May on my website at jwhealing.com. And I'm very open to working with brand new people as well as returning people, even people that I haven't worked with for years. That's fine. It's not, there's no problem with that, you know? It's like sometimes people, I guess they get in their head about like, well, I should have been getting healings and I meant to, but I forgot. And so then they feel weird, you know. It's fine. There's no judgment on my part. You're totally welcome to buy a healing set. And you could purchase them for your friends or family members too, close friends. I mean, if they don't know consciously, then I would like it to be a very close friend. So I could ask them telepathically. I mean, I can ask them telepathically if it's like a coworker, but sometimes if you don't have much connection to the person, it's a little weird energy wise. So when you buy, if you're buying for somebody else, just let me know who the person is. And if it's, you know, and I'm always going to be asking them on a spirit level if they're okay with it, if they're not consciously aware. So, but it's totally okay to purchase for like, you know, your sister or your father-in-law or whatever, or your adult kids or your kids. All right, cool. That's enough with sales notes. So pre-healing chat comments. Oh, wait, before I forget. Okay, so a note, just because everyone doesn't listen to all my live streams, so forgive me if you've listened to the last two, because I have said this in the last two. But after the healing, I won't be doing, just read everybody's life story type questions, or even, read what's going on with me type questions. I will be looking at if people write down, well, their comments about how they're feeling after the healing. That's always interesting. Or like a follow-up question about the theme. That's interesting. But also, if you have an issue, read it yourself. And then if you want me to double check your read on it. So for example, I had a really bad headache yesterday, and I tend to have a really bad headache after I go to work, and then that's the issue. And then the self-assessment is, well, I think I'm definitely not grounded enough at work, and I think that I've been skipping my lunch, which I need to stop, and I think that my boss is whacking me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat my protein. I'm going to work on my grounding more before and during work, and I'm going to do aura repair and chakra repair. So like that kind of thing. Like this is my issue. Rather than being like, this is my issue, Janet, tell me what to do. Like, read yourself and read what to do about it, and then I'll just double check. Because practicing self-assessment is how you get better at it. And so if you want me to assist you practicing, that's fine. But that's what I'm trying to encourage. And also, I'll only do it for 30 minutes. I'll set my timer for 30 minutes after the healing to do the self-assessment validation kind of stuff. Okay, cool. Hope that makes sense. And if you don't have a chance, but that sounds interesting to you, you could post under any video at any time, that kind of thing. Like, okay, here's my issue. Here's my read on what's going on. And here's what I'm going to do about it. And then could you double check that, please? And I'll just double check. Okay. So now, okay, so I'm going to look at pre-healing chat comments, and then we'll do 3 minutes of quiet, and then we'll actually get the healing going. How about that? And during the healing, it's, except for the first minute, I do talk out loud and say what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So you could use the healing as an all levels self-healing walkthrough if you wish. All right. Someone says, can see and hear you. Thank you very much. Cool emojis. Someone says, hey, Janet, we can see and hear you in Chicago. 40 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny. It snowed last night. LOL. How about that? Was it just a teeny bit? How much is, well, I guess 40 degrees, it must all be melted by now anyway. So this is, hi, Janet. And you're saying hello from sunny but cold Pacifica, California, 44 degrees. 44 degrees is cold for you guys. 44 would be fine for us for March. But hope you're staying warm. And thanks for the hello. Someone says, hello, Janet, can see and hear you. Lovely golden background. Well, thanks. I'm glad you liked it. Glad you like it. Someone says, I feel the healing. Found party favor gold butterflies. Been singing gold play try to fix you. Oh, Coldplay. Try to fix you. Interesting. While tears are streaming down my face, then Snow Patrol song, light up, as if you have a choice. Alrighty then. So songs that validate spirituality, I guess. Someone says, yeah, the exercise triggers that triggers about exercising. Yeah. May explain why I want to skip the leg days sometimes. Yeah, definitely. So it says, hey, Janet, can see and hear you from sunny San Francisco, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Sounds nice. It says, hello, Janet. Thanks for the healing. Felt kind of sleepy, not realizing there's a healing today. It now makes sense. Yeah, actually, the healing didn't start yet because I made the live stream start like over an hour later than, well, usually it's pretty late actually, but I didn't even, I adjusted the official start time of the live stream. I pushed it back by an hour this morning because it was like so obvious that I wasn't going to be anywhere near that time. So yeah, we haven't done the healing yet. But maybe you're just saying proactively, thanks for the healing. You're welcome, proactively. This is, hey, Janet from Las Vegas, 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, hello. Thanks to the tropical emojis there. Someone says, just wanted to say that the inner child work has really helped me with applying for jobs. I applied for a job last night and I felt super confident. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah. Yeah, we did a lot of inner child work so far because the triplet set had it. So we did like heal wounded inner child parts, which we'll do today. And then we also did the whole thing about clearing baggage so that your adult self is in charge and not either inner child parts of you, the happy or the unhappy. So good. I'm glad that helped. Someone says, hi, I like the golden background too. Good. I'm glad you like it. Someone says, hi, Janet. Thanks for the feedback. Someone says, hi, Janet from cloudy Portland, Oregon, which is not too far from me, although with traffic, it takes longer to get there. Someone says hi with cute emojis. Thank you. This is, we already had 21% of 2025. It's crazy how fast time flies by. You know, it has felt like a year already for me, those couple months of 2025. So yeah, it's like in one way, it's flying by because now it's spring, but in another way, it's like, oh my God, this has felt like an eternity already. Ah, but I can clear some baggage around that, can't I? Alrighty, so I'm gonna put out my healing sheets, which is just the names of all the 141 people that I'm healing because I like to read people on and off as I'm healing. I want to see if everyone's doing well with the healing. Oh, I can do the country count while I'm doing that. All the little stats. They're kind of fun. For me, at least. So, alrighty. So out of the 141 people that I'm healing in this healing and the Sunday healing, they're in 11 different countries, including 14 kids, ages 5 to 17. And then of those 11 countries, 112 of them are in the US this time. 5 are in Canada, 6 in the United Arab Emirates, 4 in the UK, 4 in South Korea, 3 in Qatar, 3 in Ukraine, 1 in Luxembourg, 1 in Portugal, 1 in India, and 1 in Japan. So hello, hello, hello to all the people that I'll be healing. Hi, 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 hi. And if you are watching now or later on when it's a video, and you didn't purchase the healing, so therefore I am not healing you. Hello anyway. Hello, hello, hello. You're welcome, of course, to listen and learn and heal yourself. All right. Okay, so now before the healing starts, we'll do 3 minutes of quiet where I finish my preparations, say hello to the people that I'm healing non-verbally. And towards the end of that, I'll start the healing without talking, and then I'll talk the whole rest of the time. On and on and on. Okay, so let's unblock hand chakras. You have a big hand chakra in the palm of each hand, and you have a fingertip chakra in each fingertip. And so these chakras, just like all chakras, they generate energy. So if you set these particular chakras with your intention to be a metallic gold color, like this glitter, then that's the color of energy they're generating. So that's just done with your intention. You don't have to be able to see energy to do it. So go ahead, set those energy centers to gold. And then you can use one hand to unblock the other. Unblock your wrists, unblock each finger, unblock your hand chakra in the palm of each hand. All right. Cool. And so throughout this healing, what you could do if you want is you make a copy out in front of you of yourself, and you use gold light from your hands to heal the copy of yourself. And as you're doing that, you're healing yourself. It's just sometimes it's easier. You can spin it around, see the back, see things in a magnified way if you use a copy out in front. Okay. Enough of that. Okay, so grounding, you could redo both your groundings, get rid of the old ones, make brand new ones, make them nice and wide as all your auras, wide all the way down to the core of the earth, make them both the same color, red or orange or yellow. Why? Because to be as present as possible, you need, your body and your spirit to be on the same page. You don't want to match all the pain. You just want like good vibes, but you want, roughly in the same neighborhood for your body and your spirit. It helps you click in and be much more present, much more strong, vital, all the good stuff, right? So big groundings all the way down and bring them up high as your third chakra. Your third chakra is just below your sternum bone, that bone that goes down the middle of your rib cage. So just below that, that's your third chakra. So go ahead and by the way, an ideal color for your third chakra is yellow. But you can bring up your grounding, make your grounding red, orange, or yellow. That's fine. Bring it up as high as your third. So that just helps your third, your second, your first drain out extra. And then make a copy out in front of you of both your groundings. Both meaning you have one for your astral body and your astral body aura, and one for your physical body and your physical body aura. So just imagine both those groundings. They're pretty much in the same place if you're present, reasonably present. So just unblock them. You can sweep all the blocks into one pile and use lots of gold light to melt the blocks away. Sweep all the blocks into one pile. Use gold light to melt them all away. You can also blow them up. I can't because I'm healing other people, but if you're just healing yourself, that's a nice thing to be able to, it's kind of fun, You can also melt them with gold light. So sweep together the blocks in your grounding and just melt them with gold light. The whole sweeping them together can be done just with your intention, with the motion of your hands. You don't have to be able to see. And the benefit of that is then, because you might not be able to see, oh, I have one in the back, I have one right in the center, I have one, on the side, the left side, blah, blah, blah. So just sweep them all together and blow them up or melt them away with gold light. Sweep them all together, blow them up or melt them with gold light. Indie grounding stands for independent grounding, and so your grounding works better that way. So just use gold light down the outer surface of both groundings and melt away any connections to other people's groundings. So even if you have kids, it's better that their grounding goes straight down and not into yours. All right. Good job. So we're going to do aura repair, repairing all 17 of your auras at once. So the reason aura repair is so important is because it's one of the main reasons you might feel crappy or have focus issues or, not enough energy. You can get, your auras can rip and then your energy leaks out, and that attracts invasive beings. It attracts invasive people, weakens you. So it's a mess. So, but fortunately, there's always good news in energy healing. It is easy to repair your auras. And if you get good at it, it's just quick and easy, bam, bam, No drama. So you can repair all your auras at once too. So, you know, your auras are all around you, astral body aura, physical body aura, and then 15 auras called Wei Qi auras. Weichi. I'll type that in the chat, I guess. I'll type it out. So 15 are Wei Qi auras, and then the other 2 are astral body and physical body auras. But anyway, so imagine them all in the same, you know, they're in the same place if you're present. So just comb through them all. And you're checking for rips, right? And so if you have rips, you could start repairing them right away. Just wash them out, get them nice and clean, and then the gold light saturates and starts the repair process, and then they repair up. But, you know, that way you have to find all of them. And so maybe you're not as confident about finding them, or you're just in a rush. You can repair all your rips at the same time. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to use composite copy technique. So with that, you create an image of a rip and you say, okay, well, this rip represents all the rips in my 17 auras that I need to repair. And then you use sticky gold wax to clean out the rip. So that's gold light from your hands that your intention is it's sticky gold wax, and your intention is it sticks to whatever's not you. So then it forms a lump and you can get it out really easily and give it to your angels. So sticky gold wax, get rid of all the junk that's not you. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax, get out all the junk. So what is that junk? Angels, here you go. Junk is hard objects that people threw at you to create the rip in the first place, or invasive beings, or just energy from invasive people. So again, sticky gold wax, get rid of all that stuff, including the hard objects. That's a big lump. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax, get rid of all of it. Angels, here you go. You can even say too, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you please recycle them? And gold light, and get it as deep as you can so that the rips repair and grow back, or it grows back. All right, so we'll do that one more time just in case you have 1 or 2 rips left over. So make another image of a rip and have it, you know, with your intention, say, okay, well, this represents the leftover rips, if there are any, right? And do the same thing. So sticky gold wax for the junk. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax for the junk. Angels, here you go. Angels, if there are any invasive beings still in the way of this repair, can you please recycle them? Okay, cool. So, couple more things. We had talked about, okay, so we had talked about that you can have scar valleys in your Weichi auras. Because for some reason, physical body auras, they don't, like, a rip is just a rip, you know, and it doesn't really get, like, you can get compression, but it tends to be like sort of pancaked, like more in a more inner way from the rip. So it rips to this point, and then you have like hard pancakes of compression after that. And we'll get rid of that too. But with Weichi auras, for some reason, a lot of times when a whack gets through and damages one or several of your Weichi auras, you can get these scar valleys where it's just like it coats the side of the rip like a hardness. And that gets in the way of the functioning, the proper functioning of the Weichi aura, even after you repair the Weichi aura if you leave the scar valleys. So anyway, long story short, we're going to get rid of any leftover hardness in really all your auras at once. We could do it that way. We don't really have to just do scar valleys at once and then just do the hardness and the astral body and physical body aura all at once. We can just you know, pile up all the hardness from all your auras, including the scar valleys. Okay. And then just say, angels, if there are any invasive beings hooked into this stuff, can you recycle them? Because that's pretty common. If you have a big block or a big, you know, bunch of, you know, compression, you could have invasive people or invasive beings hooked into it. So get the beings out of the way. That way it's low drama. And then you can get the people out of the way by melting cords. So melt everybody's energy, melt the cords out of this pile of hardness, aura hardness. And then if you're healing yourself, you can just blow it all up, or you can continue to melt it with gold light until it's all gone. Okay, so let's do that again. So put out in front of you all aura hardness, including the scar valley hardness of your Wei Qi auras. Right? So any hardness, even especially in your Wei Qi auras, really. And the angels, if there's any invasive beings hooked into this stuff, can you please recycle them? And then melt cords from invasive people going into all this junk. And wash everybody's energy out of this, you know, these compressed blocks. And then just continue to use gold light to melt them completely or blow them up. Whatever amuses you the most. And if you have anything left over that's not clearing, just wrap it up in gold light and give it to your angels. Say, angels, can you help me with this? Oh, right. Good job. So just double check the outer surface of all your 17 auras. Make sure they are not leaking. There's no leaks. Use extra gold light if you feel any leaks. All right. And then you have gold mesh spheres in your Wei Qi auras. That's sometimes I just write GMS instead of gold mesh spheres. But that like each Wei Qi aura has 1, 2, 3, an innermost and middle one and an outermost one. They wrap all around you. They generate gold light. That's why your Wei Qi auras are filled with gold light, because the gold mesh spheres keep generating them. So you can just imagine your gold mesh spheres of all your Wei Qi auras and just double check, just clean them off. If there's any repair needed to those mesh spheres, just go ahead and do that. And double check your groundings again. Scoop together any blocks in your groundings, melt them away. Scoop together any blocks in your groundings, melt them away. Double check the bottom of all your auras to make sure they can release well. So your auras wrap all around you, right? Including beneath you. And so if you have blocks here, those can be sort of uniquely obstructive. Because you want to release down your grounding, but if they're there, it sort of forms this hard bowl that prevents that downward flow. So you can unblock your auras around your feet and beneath your feet especially. And you can check each layer one by one. You know, can the 7th layers release well? Can the 6th layers release well? 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st layer. 1st layer is right beneath the feet. Right, you know, around the body, closest one around the body. And then, of course, all your Wei Qi auras, they don't have layers really. So you just comb through and make sure they're unblocked at the bottom. All right, and then you can redo your gold buffer zones. There is an 18-minute video on that if you want to learn the details of redoing your gold buffer zones. Basically, they're big gold force fields that you make. And when you recreate them like that, then they act as a buffer. And so then someone would have to rip through that to then start ripping through your astral body aura or your physical body aura. So, and there is a video teaching you about those, how to make them, called, if you search YouTube for Janet Wright gold buffer zones, you'll find it. It's 18 minutes long. Okay, so your creative rings are above your astral body head, 1, 2, 3, and they are important. They generate a lot of gold light, which then can be sent downward to heal and nourish all your major chakras along your spine. And two, you have really important some energy centers and meridians up here on the top of your head, so it can help nourish and protect them too. It's really a good thing. However, if your creative rings are not happy, it can just contribute to the crappiness that you might feel. So it's like, as usual, the more beneficial something is in your space, when it goes wrong, it can go really wrong. So like, you know, whatever. I won't give you countless examples of that. Fourth chakra is another one that comes to mind though. That it's really fabulous when it's working, and if it's super blocked up, you can feel like as bad as possible. So, no, but anyway, good news with energy healing. Healing is easy. Unblocking is easy. Repair is easy. So your creative rings, they have flaps, and you want the flaps to be shut. So this is a top-down view of your one of your creative rings. Any one of them looks like this. And so those flaps that are sticking out, that's an irritated state. You don't want flaps to stick out like that. They stick out like that if there are pairs of cords going in, sending energy that's not yours, and that just irritates the ring and makes the flaps pop out. So you want to be able to have your energy go through the rings, you know, up and down, but not have it easy for everyone else to cord and plug in and mess with the area, right? So just have your copy of your, so that's explaining. That was an extended explaining. Let's do the doing part. Oops. Doing. Let's do it. So you have your copy of your 3 creative rings out in front of you, and you don't want like guck in between the rings. Like it should just be, you know, gold rings generating lots of gold light without, you know, guck that's not you in between. So clear out the guck. Guck is an official term, of course. And melt all the cord so that your rings can actually freaking relax. Oh, and you may have, I mean, like if you have a cord, say from mommy or daddy, you know, you can just melt the cord and they'll get over it. They'll have to get over it. But if you have a cord from an invasive being, it's better to ask your angels to recycle the invasive being, because otherwise, you know, why not? That's easier. So, say angels, if there are any invasive beings cording my creative rings, can you please recycle them? And just take a deep breath, you know, with your toes or something while your angels do that for you. So, melt cords from people. A lot of times the cords will go in like if it was a clock at 12 and 6 and 3 and 9 o'clock. Like they can go in anywhere along the ring, but a lot of times 12, 6, 3, and 9 are the hot spots. So we don't want that. So just melt them away. Melt the cords so that the flaps, especially flaps at, you know, 12, 6, 3, and 9 can relax and fall shut. And if you can't see with your vision, you know, whether the flaps are open or not, use your intuition, right? Use your intuition, which will feel like you're guessing, but that's okay. That's just intuition without confidence. It feels like guessing. Anyway, just guess if those flaps are shut or not. And if they're not shut, just keep melting cords. You can say also, again, angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with my creative rings, can you please recycle them? And it could be that your rings have some damage, especially at 12, 6, 3, and 9. If it's really hard to get those flaps shut, maybe there's some cracks or some little missing chunks. And that's why it's extra easy for people to cord. So go ahead and repair any cracks or damage or missing pieces, especially at 12, 6, 3, and 9. I should mention that in the heading. That we've been talking about that. So we've just been talking about that throughout, of course, throughout the doing section. And the explaining, I guess, before. All right, good enough. So, like I said, you want your 7th chakra, well, you want to be able to energy to go through the creative rings, your energy, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to repair and unblock all your chakras. So that'll help make your 7th chakra even happier. It can generate even more energy and keep it flowing. Send it up through the rings, down all the way, up through your body, up through the ring, down again, right? But we're going to repair and unblock all your chakras at once, all major and minor chakras at the same time, which is what we usually do. All right, so let's do it. So this is a basic chakra shape, open cylinder, right? So then just have that out in front of you and, create an image of a chakra and just say, okay, well, with your intention, say this represents all my major and minor chakras of my body and my spirit. And then go ahead and melt cords. Pairs of cords can go and attach to the round openings, which would irritate and stick out the flaps, right? Just like the creative rings. So you don't want the flaps to be open. You want to melt enough cords so the flaps just relax and fall shut. So it's a nice smooth round opening without flaps sticking out. Right? So, and repair, especially around the openings. You can have damage here too, like scratches or gashes as well. So anyway, use gold light to melt cords and repair damage and unblock, melt energy blocks. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with any of my chakras, can you please recycle them? You could bring up red earth energy and soak all your, your composite copy chakra with the red earth energy. And use gold light from your hands. Melt the blocks. You can drag them out with your hands. Melt the blocks with your hands. Drag out the blocks. Melt them with gold light. Drag out the blocks. Melt them with gold light. Lift up the blocks if you want. Melt them with gold light. Lift up the blocks. Melt them with gold light. There may be some cords that you haven't cleared yet. That it's like you just like maybe you're just so used to them being there that you kind of don't see them anymore, even subconsciously. So get those cords, you know, melt the cords that you're so used to, you forget to clear them. Melt those cords. And then go ahead and do more repair and unblocking with those cords gone. And you can run gold light to the point where it's kind of like the hardness melts and then it's like all flow. So the chakras, yeah, they can be kind of rigid, but if you use enough gold light and just kind of relax a little bit, then they can start flowing. It's like they're more flow than rigid then. It's like as if you ever seen like a image of a mirage on the street where like there's sunlight and there's so much heat that like it's like it looks like the road is like moving or flowing. It's kind of like that if you look at the chakras and then you put so much gold light and you just kind of relax enough, then you can kind of feel like, okay, now all of a sudden there's much more flow than there was. Yeah, so just be patient and, you know, be aware of that rigidness, the resistance, and just run enough gold light and breathe so that it just starts to flow again. All right, good job. So that was repairing and unblocking all your chakras at the same time. Because why not? Okay, so this next section I actually have made, I think it was since the last healing set, I made a video, or maybe right towards the end of that healing set, I made a short video in the short video playlist. It's 18 minutes long, and it actually uses footage from 3 different live streams, just because like my favorite part in one live stream and the other in the other. So it's anyway, hopefully it's very useful, but it has all this in it in an 18-minute video, what we're about to do. So I can link it below in the chat, in the comment section later. I'll link it below with the short video playlist. Okay, so fine. So, but basically it's this whole area back here that we'll be working. The good karma windows are back here. Base of skull acupuncture points are back here. And the governing vessel points 15 to 20 are back here as well. Back here, and 20 is in the top of the head. Base of skull to the top of the head. GV meridian, that one that goes up the midline of the back. So that's what we're doing right now. And it helps a lot of things. It helps focus. I mean, because governing vessel meridian helps all your yang meridians. So like that more take charge, self-assertive kind of energy, where you get your shit together, you know. Anyway, so let's do it. So good karma windows back here. They're really good for boundaries and safety. So they're actual windows. They look like little frames, like 3 concentric square frames, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back here behind the base of your skull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just, they're supposed to be the rainbow colors that your chakras are. So if your energy in your chakras, if you set your first to red, orange, yellow, green, deep, light blue, deep blue, purple, then that's the color of these: red, orange, yellow, green, deep blue, light blue, deep blue, purple. So anyway, enough talking, more doing. Just use lots of gold light. This is a nice thing to do when you wake up in the morning, you know, just check back here and just comb through it. Box. Above your head is really nice to do too in the morning. But like you bring in new energy from up here downward, downward directly into your shoulders as well, but also directly in through the back of your head. So just use gold light, melt away any hardness in and around these good karma windows. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in these areas that I'm working, can you please recycle them? Deep breath while your angels do that. Lift up all the junk, melt it away. Lift up all the junk, melt it away with gold light. Lift up all the junk, you could blow it up. Lift up all the junk, you give to your angels. Angels, can you help me with all that? Lift up the junk. Angels, can you help me with all that? So what's the junk? It could be hard objects that someone threw into this area. It could be invasive being energy or invasive people. Melt cords going into all these windows and repair each one. Some people that do this type of work, they may be like, oh my God, where are all the beings coming from? And sometimes it's because, you know, their good karma windows are damaged. And so it's just not a proper boundary back here. So you can look into that and see if maybe you need more repair of your good karma windows. You can have some invasive people or invasive beings, and their energy kind of weaves through the windows into and anchors into either your base of skull points or your chakras along your spine. So if any of that's going on, just imagine it, freeze it, drag it out. Angels, here you go. Freeze it. Angels, here you go. You just want only your good stuff, your new positive change energy to come through your windows. All right, so that's good karma windows. Base of skull points are in that diagram right there. It's so those are traditional Chinese medicine meridians, all those lines, and everyone has them, even if you didn't know it. And they help you not just with body stuff, because they are in the physical body, but they help you with like all sorts of different things, like quality of sleep, you know, psychological things. You know, it's really amazing. So anyway, the base of skull points, those dots on the meridians, those are actually energy centers, and each one looks like a chakra. You know, red would be the ideal energy color of each of the meridians and the chakras. It's just they have to be different colors on the chart to tell them apart. But so the base of skull points are those two horizontal lines level with the top of the earlobe and the bottom of the earlobe. So all those points right there. So we're just going to repair and unblock the base of skull meridians, we could say, you know, all these meridians that go through the base of skull area. And the points, you don't really have to know what they're called, what each meridian's called, or the number of the points. You don't have to know the direction of flow. I will be telling you that stuff, but you don't have to know it. I'll be telling you some of that stuff as I work it, just for your information, but you don't have to know. You just imagine them as red flowy tubes with red chakras inside them, and you want the chakras to be repaired and unblocked and functioning well, and you want the red flowy tubes to be red and flowy and unblocked. So that midline one, that's the one we're going to be working more. GV, governing vessel meridian, helps to manage all your yang meridians. And so GV 15 to 20, while I'm talking about it, 15 is that lowest base of skull point in the middle line there, the GV meridian. That's GV 15. GV 16 is really close to it, right? And that one is the one my acupuncturist said helps you be in the center of your head, which sixth chakra helps with clairvoyance. So that's cool. So, but 15 and 16, you can just unblock them both at the same time. They're so close to each other. '17 is also a base of skull point. BB 17. Surround it with so much gold light that the hardness melts away and the damage melts away. And it can expand as much as it needs to. And then 18, 19, and then 20 is the top one. 20 is really good to unblock. Feels fantastic to have that more unblocked and flowing. So you want all of them, of course, unblocked, 15 through 20. And just like I was talking about when we were doing chakra repair, it's like at some point you can use enough gold light and just relax enough that the hardness becomes flowing. And so if you can just imagine the hardness and just keep using gold light and be patient and breathe, and then it's like you can kind of tell it all just starts to get all flowy. Okay, and then the yellow lines there, that's the urinary bladder meridian, UB, urinary bladder. And it starts in the inner corner of the eye and goes up and a little over and goes back. And then you see it in the diagram, it splits from 2 branches to 4 branches, which is kind of cool. So I do have a video that, one of the short videos, I'll link it below later. It does UB meridian in the back and the kidney meridian that goes up the front. So it's kind of cool to work both of those at the same time. I'll link it below. That's also in the short video playlist. UB and KI are in the title for urinary bladder meridian and kidney meridian. But we're not gonna heal the whole meridian right now, just those base of skull points of the urinary bladder meridian. And then that sort of blue-green color right there, sort of similar to my sweatshirt. That's the gallbladder meridian. That goes through the base of skull area. And we're gonna unblock those points. And you can comb through the base of your skull area and comb outwards into the auras, as a copy out in front of you, of course, but comb through and then outward and just get caught up in your hands any blocks that are healthy and gentle to get rid of. So comb through, get the blocks, and then just say, angels, if there are any invasive beings hooked into all these blocks, can you please recycle them? Deep breath. And then you can melt cords from people going into these blocks. And then melt the blocks or blow them up. Okay, so one more time, comb through your base of skull area. Grab out into the auras, all the auras behind that area, and grab onto any blocks that are healthy and gentle to get rid of. Say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings hooked into this stuff? Deep breath. And then melt cords from people going into all those blocks. And then melt the blocks. Or blow them up. All right. Good job. All right. Good job. Good job. Good job. Woohoo. Okay. So, types. I just do. Okay. Sorry about that. So now we will clear motivation confusion. One of the things I talked about before the healing. So I already explained it, but in short, it helps wisdom and productivity. But if you want to know more about it, along with examples and everything, listen to the section before the healing where I described it. It's its own chapter. Okay, so we'll just do it. So put out in front of you, you can use a big gold blanket if you want, or big gold dumpsters or gold boxes, or just make piles without containers, whatever works for your brain. And put out there any junk you have in your space. It could be your baggage. It could be other people's baggage that you took on or that was dumped in your space even. But anything that confuses your motivation. So just put out there anything that confuses your motivation. So, because it could be that somebody else, was suffering in a certain way, and so that's their problem. So anything that confuses you and your heart chakra about what is your problem and what's not your problem, right? Because it's good to be compassionate to others and empathetic to others, but if you take on their pain, you're just disabled. So anyway, put out there anything that's not you about motivation, right? So anything, anybody else's burdens, anything that confuses your motivation. You want to keep it simple for your own motivation. And you can't do that if you have too much of other people's junk, right? So even if they're nice people, doesn't matter. You're going to get plenty blocked up on a nice person. Really, really blocked up. So just put out there any baggage from anybody, including yourself, that confuses your own motivation. And say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? And then go ahead and anything that's still left over, the answer is yes. It is healthy and gentle to clear right now. So you could bring up red earth energy, soak it in that. You could use gold light and melt away cords going into these piles from other people or from yourself. And just melt all this baggage or blow it up. You want to wash everybody out of this baggage. And then just keep melting it away. And if there's any part of it that didn't melt away, just wrap it up in gold light and give it to your angels. Say, angels, can you help me with this? All right, so we'll do that one more time. Put out in front of you any baggage that you have in your space for any reason that confuses your motivation, like what's important to you. So any baggage that tells you that something else should be important to you, anybody else's priorities, just put all that junk out in front of you. Right? And then just say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? And just let your angels edit your piles. And then whatever's still there, yes, is healthy and gentle to clear. So go ahead, bring up red earth energy and gold light, melt cords with the gold light, melt cords from other people going into all this junk. And there could be a lot of cords because, fourth chakra is very passionate, so people can be invasive with a passion, when it comes to fourth chakra baggage. So keep melting the cords, and then you can blow up all this baggage or melt it away with gold light. If any's left over, just wrap it up in gold light. Give it to your angels. Say, angels, can you help me with this? All right, good job. So that was clearing motivation confusion to help you, because then your heart chakra can just have an easier job. You know, your heart chakra is for helping motivate you based on your own goals. And so that's how it can cooperate well with your seventh chakra and your confidence, your knowledge, your higher self, and your wisdom, right? But if your fourth chakra has everybody else's goals shoved in it, then it can't, it's like kind of at war with the other chakras you have. So now you cleared other people's stuff out. So like your seventh chakra can tell your fourth chakra what to do, and your fourth chakra can motivate you and then tell your third chakra, okay, we're going to do it. All right. So along those lines, let's do some chakra alignment just for kicks. So with that spirit of saying, okay, well, let's let our chakras work together and cooperate well together. Right? So chakra alignment is about the major chakras along your spine. So 7 astral chakras and 7 physical body chakras. And so 7 is in the top of your head. And you have 2 of them, one for your physical body and one for your astral body. And 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Right? So just imagine them out in front of you. Your 7th chakra is oriented differently than your 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The 7th is oriented like this, with the round opening at the top and the bottom, and 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 are oriented this way, so round opening in the front. Right? Imagine them. And they can be out of alignment, like one could be pushed over to one side a little bit or twisted around. So just keep unblocking them in the front and the back. Run gold light through them. Again, you're doing astral and physical body. You could separate them and view 7 astral separately from 7 physical, or you could view them at the same time. Either way. All right, good job. And a note, I had said that in the clear motivation confusion section, we may do direct healing on the 4th chakra and 4th layers, like direct unblocking, but we didn't need to. We just cleared any blocks causing motivation confusion, which is basically largely those blocks would be in your 4th chakra and 4th layers. And then with the chakra alignment, we unblocked all the major chakras as part of aligning them. So that was good enough. Okay, so I've explained this already. There's a whole section, a separate chapter you could refer to before the healing where I explain this. So now we're just going to do it. Go ahead and put out in front of you any inner baggage that you have. It could be your baggage from this life or past lives, could be somebody else's energy in your space. But any baggage you have that triggers when you even think of exercising or stretching. Also, of course, when you do it. And maybe if you feel that stretching sensation, you know, when you're stretching a muscle, you know, what triggers, and just put all that out in front of you and say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? And just take some deep breaths while your angels go through it and make sure that, you know, you're not clearing too much. And then go ahead and clear whatever's still in front of you. So use gold light. You can blow it all up. You can melt cords from people going into this stuff. You can say too, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings hooked into this junk? Yeah, just melt it all away. Melt your own resistance out of the way. Melt your own fears out of the way. If you have any left over in that pile, just wrap it up in gold light. Give it to your angels. Say, angels, can you help me with this? And we'll do that one more time. So a couple deep breaths. Check your grounding. Both your groundings nice and wide as all your auras. High up to your third chakra. Wide all the way down to the core of the earth. Both your groundings red or orange or yellow. Comb through them with your hands. Make sure they're flowing well. Melt the blocks in your groundings with gold light. Okay, ready for round 2? Now, when you think about exercising, so you could go ahead and, you know, imagine, like stay here, but, you know, you could imagine the thought of exercising, the thought of doing some stretching and how you feel like when, you know, you're stretching a little bit, how does that feel? Maybe when you're exercising, how does that feel? Or when you're trying to find time to exercise, how does that feel? And just put anything that triggers. So any baggage, anybody else's energy, any stuck energy that triggers, put all that out in front of you and say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? A couple deep breaths while your angels go through the pile and make sure. So anything that's left over is healthy and gentle to clear. So then go ahead, you could bring up red earth energy, soak it all in red earth energy, use gold light, melt cords going into all this stuff. You can say, angels, if there's any invasive beings hooked into any of this baggage, can you recycle those beings? And then you could blow up all the baggage or continue to melt it with gold light. And any leftover baggage, just wrap it up in gold light and give it to your angels. Say, angels, can you help me clear this? All right. So, what we could do is, we did clearing just then, so now we could do flower healing. And with this flower healing, you can, of course, make it out of universal healing energy, these energy healing flowers for yourself, but you can put messages in them, your own messages of encouragement about exercising and stretching, if you want. Go ahead and make as many energy healing flowers as you could possibly ever want out of gold energy and or rainbow colored energy, and set it to a vibration. You're making it out of universal healing energy, and you're setting it to a vibration that's going to help, you know, motivate you and uplift you and encourage you, and support your own personal goals of vitality, and exercise and stretching, right? And then go ahead and ask your angels to check your flowers. Say, angels, can you check my flowers? And go ahead and give them to yourself. Okay. So go ahead, try that again. Make more energy healing flowers for yourself. Have universal healing energy, whatever color you want. And Just again, put your own vibration, your own messages, your own ideas about your physical vitality, the kind of health that you really want, the kind of physical mobility that you want, your exercise goals, all that good stuff. Encouragement, make it uplifting. All right. And just say, angels, can you check my flowers? And then go ahead and give them to yourself. One more time, really quickly. Right? Make your own energy healing flowers to encourage you with your own encouragement, you know, so your own messages and just universal healing energy to encourage you to do exercise and stretching as much as you want. And then just say, angels, can you check my flowers? And then go ahead and give yourself the flowers. All right, good job, good job, good job. Okay, so that was, we helped support your vitality by working your energy of exercising and stretching. And we did that two ways. One, by clearing baggage that triggers in your space when you even think about exercising or stretching or when you're doing it. And then nourishing and giving yourself your own encouragement about exercising and stretching. Oh, right. Okay, so this will be like a multi-step thing that we do, but I'm going to do the main part first. And I did explain this in its own chapter before the healing. But it's about having a happy adult self. Okay, so the adult part of you, be happy. And the thing is, you know, it's kind of funny, you know, there can be just a couple energy blocks in the way of you feeling more happiness. Like not total blissful, you know, elation, but there can, you know, since your inner reality, you're really perceiving what's within you. You know, like you can have a hard life or a challenging life, like challenging financially, challenging as in like you have way too many responsibilities and too little time and, you know, yada, 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 all sorts of things, you know, physical challenges, all sorts of things. But your inner climate determines how you process that and how you perceive it and whether or not you perceive it in a glass half full way or a glass half empty way, right? That's that inner climate. So that's what we're working with, this happy adult self, you know? So I don't mean to ignore or disrespect by ignoring people's real challenges that they have in their life. What we're trying to do, though, is sweeten up your perception of it anyway so that you're happier. So I hope that makes sense. And sometimes happiness is kind of contagious. Like if you're happier, your own perception is more uplifted, it helps you to handle your challenges better. And it can also make other people treat you better, which is not fair, but true. It makes it easier for other people to be around you, makes them want to work with you and help you. Whereas if you're not uplifted and you're very downtrodden, it can be very hard for people to be around you because you're triggering their burdens just by you being so stuck in your own. Anyway, lots of benefits for working your happy adult self. So let's do it. And then we will heal wounded inner child after this. Wounded inner child parts. Okay, so let's do clearing your helping your happy adult self, right? So you could, there are several ways you could do it. We'll do it 2 different ways, I think. So first way is just put out a big pile of baggage. So whatever baggage is in your space that blocks you from being happy. The adult part of you that is aware of your responsibilities, that is aware of time and deadlines and all sorts of stuff, responsibilities, financial realities, very aware of reality, right? That part of you, there could be some baggage in the way of that part of you feeling more uplifted and content and pleased. Okay, so put baggage out in front of you. Any internal blocks that you have, it could be other people's energy, it could be baggage of yours from a past life, it doesn't matter. Any junk in your space that interferes with you having a happy adult self. Okay, and just put all that baggage out in front of you and say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? That way your angels can double check for you and edit your piles if needed. Okay, so then everything that's still there is healthy and gentle to clear right now. So just bring up red earth energy, soak the piles, red earth energy straight from the core of the earth, soak the piles, and then gold light, use gold light to wash everybody out of the piles, melt cords from other people going into the piles. So this is just whatever junk is in your space blocking you from having a happy adult self, more content. And again, happiness is incremental. It's not like this absolute, but happier, let's say, happier adult self, right? So what's in the way of you having a happier adult self? And just melt everybody out of this baggage, and you could blow up the baggage or just keep melting it with gold light till it's all gone. Because remember, your angels already went through these piles, and this stuff is healthy and gentle to clear right now. So you can just go for it. Deep breath. Okay, so let's do that one more time. Put baggage out in front of you, any baggage that's in the way of you having a happy adult self, whether it's your energy from this or past lives, whether it's other people's energy in your space, whatever's in the way, right? Bring up red earth energy, soak the piles, say, angels, if there are any invasive beings hooked into this stuff, can you please recycle them? And you can say, 2 angels, can you please double check the piles, make sure they're healthy and gentle to clear right now. Deep breath while your angels do that. And then just, you can blow up the piles or melt them. Keep melting people's cords out of them. Wash other people out of these piles. Just make the piles go away. Destroy them fully. Don't repress them for another 20 years. Just make them fully melt or blow them up. If there's any leftover that's not clearing, wrap it up in gold light and give it to your angels. Say, angels, can you help me with this? All right. So that was good. So now you could, we're doing it 2 ways. So that was just clearing baggage piles, right? Clearing piles of baggage. So the second way, you could do it 2 ways. I'm going to do a river. to represent your adult self, your happy adult self space. And so that way you can unblock the river and see if someone's draining off the river and stuff like that. But you could have a happy adult self. You could represent your happy adult self space as a garden and work it that way if you wish. But I'm going to do a river. Just what I'm in the mood for right now. But either way is equally good. Whatever amuses you and engages you more is the best for you. So I'm going to do a river. So you imagine a river that represents your happy adult self space, your ability to have happy adults, your adult self be happy. And just look and see, is that river blocked up? Are people draining off the energy of it? And just melt away any branch off parts. You just want it to be one big flowing river that's for yourself. The job of this river, this river energy represents your ability to have a happy adult self. So do you have like people complaining in your happy adult self river? Blocking it up? Just wash out all the complainers. Wash out the haters. You may have helpers that are clogging up your river. Just wash out everybody from your river. This is just for you. This is your happy adult self river. You want it to be flowing in a lot of energy so that you have a very strong force within you, your happy adult self energy. Maybe it's blocked even at the source of it, and that could represent like some blocks that you took on right at the start of your life, say from your parents or your parents' or something. So just melt all the blocks at the very start of the river. You can have a nice, strong, happy adult self river. Melt cords from other people going to the start of the river. If you melt people out of the way, it just makes it easier for you to change without them really feeling jarred or shocked by it. So melt people out of the way, melt their cords, and then you can unblock your river. Day 2, angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with my happy adult self river, can you please recycle them? All right, good job. So you don't need to have a perfect river. You just want to do an unhealthy and gentle amount of change with it. All right, good job, good job. So that was working your happy adult self 2 ways. One, just by clearing piles of baggage, and the other way was imagining it as a river and unblocking and repairing and strengthening the river. All right. So this is more sort of the famous way that people expect to work inner child, which is important. Well, that know my work, maybe they expect. I guess there are other ways that I don't do, but so what you can do is just imagine out in front of you, if you do have, they can be subconscious, they can be from past lives, but parts of you that are stuck in a child space but not having a good time. So it's not like your happy inner child energy, it's like suffering inner child energy from some negative experience you had. And it could be a simple negative experience, or it could be a very big negative experience. It doesn't matter. So just imagine those parts of you, and you can imagine far away if you want, if it's just like you don't want to feel the energy of it, and you're concerned about that, you can imagine those parts of you like 20 feet in front of you if you need to. But just imagine, as many as you feel is healthy and gentle to work at once, these wounded inner child parts of you. And now you're going to heal these parts of you. And you can say comforting messages as you heal these parts of you, but try not to feel all that negativity. Especially if you feel like it's going to be overwhelming for you. You could get a sense of it, like intellectually, and empathetically, but don't match it. You're a full adult person right now. Just remember that and heal these parts of you. You can send gold light. You can bring up red earth energy, and then orange earth energy, and then yellow earth energy. Soak these parts of you. You can say, angels, can you help me to heal these parts of me? You say, angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with these parts of me, can you please recycle those invasive beings? And you can, as you heal these parts of you, you can say, it's okay, it's okay. All right, you know, just try to be comforting to these parts of you. Again, you don't have to take on or match that discomfort in order to be comforting. Right? Just keep breathing, you're the adult healer. Right? And just gold light and help these parts of you to heal. You can make energy healing presents for these parts of you out of universal healing energy. They could look like flowers or look like, you know, toys, whatever you want. Just make energy healing flowers or toys or presents for these wounded inner child parts of you. And you can say, angels, can you check my flowers or my presents, right? And then just lay out the presents for your inner child parts of you, these wounded inner child parts of you. Don't like shove them in their space. Just leave them like in front of their auras. So they choose. They have the choice of how to accept them and when to accept them and if to accept them, right? So they feel like they're not being forced, right? And just take some breaths and just notice if these inner child parts of you are accepting the presents or not. And then you can use more gold light, more comforting messages. You can say, angels, can you help me finish healing these parts of me? So that and when those parts of you, they heal fully, then you get the energy back. So they're not separate as wounded inner child parts of you. They could become happy inner child parts of you, or you could just get that energy back as, you know, your present day adult self, which is very useful as well, of course. But you don't have to worry about where it's going to go when it's healed. It's just part of you. A couple deep breaths as your angels help finish up with these little wounded inner child parts of you. All right, good job. So you can get rid of those visualizations. Okay, so this, I sort of alluded to this, but I didn't know it would be an extra section, but it's nice this way to have it separate. So we worked on this in the last healing of the triplet set this month. So it'll all be in that playlist of March 2025 healings. But so now we have a happy inner child part, and then we have hopefully a much happier adult self, right? But sometimes you have baggage in the way of your adult self being the one to make the final decisions. Like, you want to listen to what your happy inner child part of you wants to do. Because sometimes you can make these cute little modifications, like, well, okay, I'll listen to music while I do my taxes, you know, or I'll go to bed on time, but I will, you know, what would be an inner child compromise? I'll remind my inner child as I'm going to bed on time all the fun things that we're going to be able to do tomorrow, because we'll have time to do them because we're going to bed on time today. So, you know, sometimes it's like you do want to acknowledge what your happy inner child wants, but sometimes your happy inner child is a child. So it doesn't have the ability that part of you doesn't have the ability to remember that, oh yeah, tomorrow's a really big day and it's going to be so much better if I can just get good sleep and wake up properly and, start the day off right. So, but you as your happy adult self can be uplifting about that and be like, hey, it's going to be so much easier tomorrow. It's going to be, and the weather's going to be good tomorrow, like you can cheer up this happy inner child part of you that wants to stay up all night, so that you have the adult self has the final say in, that you actually are starting to get ready for bed, because actually it does take you an hour and a half to get ready for bed, or it takes you an hour to get ready for bed, or whatever. Is the inner child part of you probably is not so aware of that. And it's just like, well, it's not bedtime yet. We don't have to think about that. So anyway, so that's the thing. You want your adult self to be in charge, I would suggest, and have the final say in these decisions and choices, but you do want communication in between your happy inner child part of you and your adult self part of you, right? So I had said in the last healing that it was kind of like, who holds the flower of power or the gold wand of authority? Is it, the gold sparkle wand of authority? You want your adult self to have the gold sparkle wand of authority. You want, give your inner child lots of happy gold sparkly presents, but the final say in decisions, the gold sparkly decision wand, should be owned, I would suggest, by your adult self. So that way, because your adult self can keep track of all your priorities and what's truly in your best interest. So that's enough over explaining, since I already explained it once already before the healing started. But let's do it. Okay. So, put out in front of you any baggage that's in the way of your adult self being able to have the final say in decisions and choices. So any baggage that's in the way of that. And it doesn't have to be yours. It's just junk in your space, or it could be your own baggage from this or past lives. So, and just melt this baggage. You can say too, angels, if there are any invasive beings in this baggage, can you please recycle them? And you can say, angels, if some of this isn't healthy and gentle to clear right now, can you edit the piles? And just go ahead and melt this away or blow it up. Okay, so one more time. Any baggage that's in the way of your adult self having the final say, because you want communication in between your happy inner child and your happy adult self, but you want to be able to make the final choices as an adult. So put all that baggage in the way of that out in front of you. Say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? Deep breath. And then, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings hooked into this junk? Another deep breath. And then go ahead and melt cords from the baggage to people, or from the baggage to you. And then melt everybody out of these piles. Melt yourself out of the piles. And the piles might just destroy themselves at that point, but if not, keep melting them with gold light or blow them up. And if you have any leftover junk from that, just wrap it up in gold light, give it to your angels. Angels, can you help me with all that? All right, good job. Woohoo! Yay. All right, good job, good job, good job. So I'm going to look and see if there's anything else that we need to do, or if we should just wrap up. Okay. So, I was looking at a sample person, and he had some of that the socioeconomic stuff that I was talking about, where like, oh, poor people exercise and do physical labor, and wealthy, smart people, intelligent, cultured people sit at their desk all day, and maybe they go on a walk once a week or something. But they don't really need to care about their muscles because they're intelligent. They have other people to do the work for them. And so you could argue that that person is being blinded by socioeconomic judgments, and they're not really realizing that the ability to walk, the ability to get up, the ability to dress yourself, the ability to go to the bathroom and clean yourself afterwards is not a given for every day of your life, even if you are educated and cultured and wealthy. It doesn't magically make your muscles and joints work properly for every day of the rest of your life. And so you could have very rude awakening later in life when it's arguably not, I mean, it could be way too late by then, by the time you realize that, your IRA, Roth IRA account or whatever retirement money you have isn't going to help you walk, right? So their vitality is not just sort of taken. There may be, I mean, in this person's case, and I think in many people's cases, we allow different things to order our priorities in a way that's not in our own best interest. And who decides that? Well, your higher self, maybe your level of eternal wisdom, because sometimes in a life, like in your 40s, you just don't realize something that when you're in your 80s. But maybe, obviously, if you're in your 40s, you're not yet in your 80s, so you don't have that level of wisdom and perspective, but your higher self does, because you've been through lifetimes and you've had the benefit of experience and age. And, and your angels, they're looking out for you. They know so much about your life and what you're meant to do, and all sorts of stuff, right? So your higher self wisdom and angel wisdom, is your ordering of priorities in line with what's in your best interests, as deemed what's in your best interest by your own higher self and your own angels. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like you think a certain thing, but then later you realize, oh yeah, that was not a good idea, right? So you can clear baggage without knowing all the details. You can compare your list of priorities, and it could be too that your list of priorities are wrong, even just yourself. You don't have to consult your higher self or your angels. You just know, like, oh my gosh, that is just not the way I need to be living my life. But on a daily basis, you forget it, and you're not your ordering of priorities, so like in that person's example, the exercise is like literally the bottom of his list, because he's like, well, I'm educated, I have wealth, don't you understand? Whereas his angels are like, oh my god, they're like, Janet, please get his social judgments out of his mind so that he can hear his higher self and his angels point out the realities of his physical body to him, and so anyway, we all have different things that may be getting in the way of our actions that can support our vitality, right? So this is mostly about vitality, this particular one, but it doesn't have to be, there could be other ways in which you're misordering your priorities and it's not truly in your best interests. Maybe consciously you think it is, or it's not, but you just can't stop yourself, So that's what this is about. This is about clearing baggage that's in the way so that you can order your priorities in a way that's wisest for you, as dictated by, your higher self, your angels, like what you truly deep down know is in your best interest. So I hope that makes sense. All right. Being able to prioritize in a way that's in your best interest. Let's do it. All right. So you can make a big gold blanket out in front of you, or some other container for all this baggage you're going to put out there, or just make piles without a container, but put out in front of you, just pile out in front of you any inner stuff that you have in your space that causes you to misorder your priorities. Priorities meaning, like, you know, where you allocate your time, you know, the daily decisions that you make, you know, are they truly in your best interest? You know, are you misordering your priorities? You know, are you misunderstanding what's truly in your best interest? Are you prioritize? Is something that's super important according to your higher self and your angels at the bottom of your priority list all the time, right? Because of some baggage you have internally, right? So just pile all that baggage out in front of you that causes you to misorder your priorities in a way that's not actually in your best interest. And say, angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? All the angels are like, oh my God, yes. Oh, that's funny. And just bring up red earth energy, soak the piles in red earth energy. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings hooked into this junk, can you please recycle them? And then you can just use gold light, melt away any cords going into these piles from other people. Melt your energy out of the piles, melt everyone else's energy out. And then you could blow up all this baggage, all this junk, or just keep melting it with gold light till it's all gone. And if any is left over, you could wrap it up in gold light, hand it to your angels. Say, angels, can you help me with all that? All right, so we'll do it one more time. So put out in front of you any baggage that you have. It could be yours from this or past lives. It could be other people's junk in your space. Just any baggage in your space that causes you to misorder your priorities on a daily basis. And in a way that's just really not truly in your best interests. And then just the angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? So they can edit your piles if necessary. There's very little being taken out of these piles. The angels are all like, do it, clear it. So then you could say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings hooked into this junk? And then you can bring up red earth energy, soak the pile in red earth energy, use gold light, melt the cords going into these piles from other people. Melt the piles or blow them up with gold, melt them with gold light or blow them up. If there's any left over that's not clearing, just wrap it up in gold light. Give it to your angels. Say, angels, can you help me with this? Okay. You're amazing. So now we'll just wrap up. We have some old favorites. And these are actually, there is a short video just on this little wrap up section from a previous time I did it in the short video playlist, which will be linked below in the comment section. It's also featured on my YouTube channel page, the short video playlist. All right. So STEBs stands for stubborn triggered energy blocks. So blocks that are still in your space, even though we've done so much to clear already. So just pile out in front of you all your STEBs. The angels, is it healthy and gentle to clear all this right now? And then say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings hooked into this junk? And then just melt people's cords out of the junk. Melt your own cords out. Wash everybody's energy out. Continue to use gold light to melt these blocks completely or blow them up completely. One more time, put your STEBs out in front of you. Angels, can you check the piles? Can you also recycle beings? Melt cords, melt the piles, or blow them up. Any left over, just wrap up in gold light. Give to your angels. Angels, can you help me with this? All right, good job. So then empty USPs. USP stands for unprocessed stress pots. You do not really have pots, but in your space, but it's a visual metaphorical representation of like sort of like your brain space to handle stressors that you haven't fully processed yet. And you do have a finite amount of sort of brain space to handle stressors that you haven't yet processed or cleared, right? And so we want to make sure that you're not already full because then you're not so able to deal with new stressors, right? So you can just imagine how many unprocessed stress pots do you have in overall, and imagine them all out in front of you. Maybe you have 40, maybe you have 10, whatever. Maybe you don't like counting them, but you like imagining them. So just imagine all of them out in front of you, and you want them to all be empty so that you're ready for new events, right? So you can just empty them by melting the contents with gold light. You can bring up red earth energy, soak them in red earth energy, use gold light, melt cords from other people going into these pots, because it could be sometimes that people cord the baggage and that's why you haven't finished processing it yet. So just melt the cords, melt the contents of these pots so that you're all caught up. Doesn't mean you made your life easy, you know, like you fixed all problems in your life, but you want to process all the stressors in your life. And you can do that to the extent that's healthy and gentle, but you know, you want to catch up, and it's not hard. It doesn't mean you have to, you know, finish all your taxes in 1 second, you know, but if you have baggage triggered about your taxes, you can clear that in 1 second. So just melt all that so that your unprocessed stress pots are nice and empty. So then you're ready for whatever comes. Okay, so you can blow all that up and just use gold light, comb through all your auras. You can redo your gold buffer zones and comb above your head and above the top of your auras. Unblock everything. Unblock both your groundings. Make sure they're nice and wide as all your auras, and flowing very strongly downward. Nice strong downward flow. You can release everything you need to. All right. So as we wrap up, just ask your angels, hey, angels, can you help me finish this? Couple deep breaths. You can say, hey, angels, can you help me with my wisdom and vitality and inner child energy? And angels, can you help me with my happy adult self energy? All right, good job. Woo, woo, woo. You're amazing. Yay, that's a healing. Okay, so now we'll do two things. Well, three things really. But so the healing's done. So we'll do a 1 minute stretch break, roughly. And that is not a guided stretch break. I mean, you'll be able to see me doing my stretches, but you can do whatever stretches you want or not. It's up to you. But then we'll do a 30-minute self-assessment validation time where you could state comments that you have about the themes or how you feel after the healing. But you could also state an issue that you have and your own self-assessment about it, like what you think is going on with your chakras and your aura and your grounding about it, and what you think you should do about it. And then I'll just validate that, like double check your read on yourself. Hope that makes sense. So, but now we'll do the stretch break. Alrighty. I wonder how many of you guys stretched. Either way is fine, of course. No judgment one way or another. I'm going to set my timer, make sure that it is actually 30 minutes and not longer. Okay. Alrighty. Let's do this. So I'm looking for comments I haven't gotten to yet. Someone says, hello, Janet. A friend in comments suggested me to watch you. Nice to meet you. Oh, that's nice. Welcome, welcome. The next live stream is in 3 days on Sunday, and that will be the second of 2 healings in this set. And then that's it for March group healing live streams. And then, there'll be 5 in April, 5 in May, and those are already on my website if you wanted to purchase the healings, or if you don't want to purchase but you just want to heal yourself and watch, of course that's fine too. So yeah, you're totally welcome. Someone says, hello, everyone. Hello to you. Someone says, thank you, Janet. I feel so happy. Lately, I've had a hard time applying for jobs or doing my hobbies in the evening. I read what was going on. It's my mom blowing this white cloud at me. I saw that the best thing for me to do was to continue to heal the front of all my Wei Qi auras because she almost shatters the fronts. How did I do on my self-assessment? Well, let's see. Okay, so your issue is that you've had a hard time applying for jobs and doing hobbies in the evening. And your self-assessment is that it's your mom and she's putting a bunch of really high vibration energy in your space that is distracting you and screwing with your focus so that you just don't do what you most want to do in the evenings. Yeah, I see that too. Because it looks like around like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, your boundaries are good, on like your average workday. But then like 4 o'clock, like 4 and 5 o'clock, like the fronts of all your auras start to get kind of crusty. Like they're not flowy so much. Your groundings at 4 and 5 o'clock, which you're probably still at your job by then, because I'm reading your local time, 4 and 5 o'clock. Your groundings start to block up too. So I would say the beginning, because usually like, if you have a problem in the evening, a lot of times it's helpful to back up. And because it's like by the time you feel the symptoms, it's already pretty far along. And so by the time you notice like your behaviors and choices are really not ideal for you, like what's going on, it's like it's a pretty advanced stage. So there may have been like 3 main contributing factors, but you'll see the most recent one and not the 2 earlier ones as well. So it's good to back up and see, okay, well, when did you actually have your space? When did you have good boundaries and flow? And that was around 1 and 2 o'clock. So then around, and 3 o'clock really, but then like 3:45, 4 o'clock, that's when like your grounding starts blocking up. And so therefore the front of your auras get like kind of brittle and rigid. And then, cause you're not be able to release blocked energy properly. And then your mom starts shooting energy at the front of your auras at around like 6 o'clock your time. So I would say the first problem is just a lack of grounding causing rigidity in the fronts of your auras, which is most likely work related. It seems like you get into this pattern of like holding your breath till you can get home and kick off your shoes or whatever, So it's like you're not really realizing like, okay, I'm not grounding and that's why I feel tense. That's why I'm actually holding my breath, Yes, I like getting home and kicking off my shoes, but my lack of comfort, my actual discomfort is an internal thing right now that I can address right now. So I would say that's the first contributing factor. But then the other half of it is definitely your mom shooting energy, which is exactly what you saw and exactly right. That, the stronger your Wei Qi auras are, the more they can withstand, the more, powerful flow they have. So they can sort of bounce off her attack energy much more effectively for longer. So yeah, I would say it's a 2-pronged thing. Work on your late afternoon grounding and aura flow but it is in the front too. But the grounding, it blocks up more in the front than in the back, but it's a little slow in the back as well. Around, 4-ish, 4, 5, 6. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, very, very accurate. I would just say back up, in general, when you see an issue, look at when the issue wasn't there and see the buildup and the progression so that you can notice other major contributing factors as well. Hope that helps. I hope it helps you, but also other people in self-assessment as far as like strategy of figuring it out. Okay, cool. Someone says, hey, Janet, waking up many nights this week with a patient in my space, tried working urinary bladder and kidney Wei-Qi auras, which there is a short video on that, which I'll link below in the comment section soon. It's in the short video playlist. It says UB and KI in the title. But anyway, tried working UB and KI Wei-Qi auras, but it's hard in the middle of the night. Didn't work well last night. How to improve it? In general, you could put the patient's first and last initials as well. And so I guess your self-assessment is that, you know, your issue is you're waking up many nights, and your self-assessment is that this person's in your space, and that it's a weakness of your UB and KI, you know, your urinary bladder and kidney meridian Wei-Qi auras that is the problem, the cause. That is, the weakness in those auras is allowing this particular client to be in your space to give you sleep disturbance. So the question is that an accurate self-assessment? You have the actual issue, which is you're waking up and your sleep is disturbed. You're unable to feel good. You know, it's not just a wake up where you feel fantastic, but you have to pee. It's a wake up and you don't feel fantastic and it's hard to get back to sleep. So is your assessment correct? Is your self-assessment correct that when you wake up, it's really because of that person in your space? Oh, and you mentioned their initials in an additional comment. Thank you. Yeah, I think that initial assessment is one you could re-examine. Because that person is screwing with your space a lot lately. So it's not just at night. So the question, the initial question is it really, you know, this person's energy, like basically being invasive, that's causing you to have the disturbed sleep? Because he's messing with your space or trying to mess with your space at 2 p.m., at noon, at 8 a.m., at, you know, at 2 a.m., at 4 a.m. So it's like, is that why you woke up? Or did something else wake you up and then you realize, okay, he's messing with you, but that's nothing new. So, you know, is that really why you can't go back to sleep? So yeah, I think he's just there. You know what I mean? Like, you can have rips in your aura and then a bunch of people pile in, you know? And so you're like, oh, he did it. But I think you've strengthened those auras enough that he can't get in your space unless you already have damage. So the question is really, why do you have that damage? I would actually attribute it more to family stuff, like genetic family stuff, like your invasive beings of family members, to be specific. So like invasive beings of it seems like one of your, you know, your mom's sister in particular. And I think that's where you're actually getting the damage that is causing you to wake up. And then you're noticing that that guy's trying to get in your space and he's in some of the wax, but he didn't make those wax. It's because your mom, she gets healings. I mean, you know, she can have some bigger invasive beings, but she does get the healings. And I think lately she's checked in enough that she's not getting new big invasive beings. You know, it's like there's just a little fog around her. She reminds me of like you know, like on the Snoopy cartoons where there's Linus and Linus has a blanket and Linus walks around with his blanket and there's like a cloud behind him a little bit with the blanket. But you know, Linus is relatively happy. He's just got a cloud around him. It's a little bit like that. Like your mom, she's clearing energy and she's present enough that her angels are pleased. I mean, they're encouraged. But she has a sister who I'm sure you comes right to mind which one it is, that has much more active, like ragey kind of responses and stuff. And it looks like that sister and that sister's beings. So somehow you end up bumping into that sister on the astral, that aunt on the astral. So I would work on clearing whatever baggage that you have that causes you to not listen to your angels and stay out of those astral events that she's at. I think it's like you're trying to change certain family members, but she has influence over those family members. And so you're trying to, like, you're doing stuff that's unsafe for you on the astral, and your angels don't want you to. I hope that makes sense. So just clear baggage so that you can listen to your angels and let your angels keep you in only safe astral locations when you sleep. And then two, you can imagine everybody in your mom's side of the family, including that aunt, and just imagine their invasive beings as like clouds above them, and just say, angels, can you recycle any of those beings, especially that you would, and any of those beings that, especially that are messing with me. But you might still have to, you know, clear a bunch of baggage so that you listen to your angels and you don't dive into astral conflicts that are unsafe for you. So hope that makes sense. So yeah, that other guy's invasive, but he's sort of small fry now because your auras are stronger. That's not really him. So somebody says, thank you so much for the healing. You're welcome. I was so exhausted after the essentials, the 5 essentials, and it started going away during wrap up clearing stress pots. Phew. Interesting. Ah. Yeah. I will read that though because it's healing related. But you could have added a self-assessment on that. But it's feedback on how you're doing right now and about the healing. So I will. So I'm grateful for that anyway. But yeah, what's going on is you could just clear your stress pots more regularly. It looks like what happens is you and many people, if you have baggage that you're trying to avoid, you kind of tune out. But the 5 essentials are really effective in clicking people back in. It doesn't force you back in, but it kind of fixes all sorts of damage and blockages and stuff that were making you stay out. But then you got in, but you didn't really want to know what you were avoiding, you know? So you were still like, oh no, I'm really not here. And so I guess what you could do is just clear, there's a short video on it too, if you want. Clear rad blocks. There's a short video for empty unprocessed stress pots and clear STEBs. So that's one you could keep doing if you want. But I would say even more important is there's a short video on it in that short video playlist, clearing rad blocks. RAD, it's an acronym standing for resistance, avoidance, and denial blocks. Because I think if there wasn't like 4 refrigerator-sized bunches of energy that you were avoiding in your space, then getting present would have felt good automatically. I think by emptying the unprocessed stress pots, you know, by clearing out that stuff, we cleared what you were avoiding. So yeah, the more direct thing is just clear rad blocks. That's the most direct thing. You know, use that short video. You could, I mean, if you did that daily, like even for 3 days in a row, that would be a game changer. If you did it daily for a week, that would be like really wild to see the new you. But anyway, yeah, so it's a short video, clear rad blocks in the short video playlist, which is featured on my YouTube channel, and I will also be linking below various videos in the short video playlist in the comment section. All right. Thank you for the feedback. I'm glad you feel better. Someone says, I'm so sleepy. You, it's a different reason. You're bringing in new energy. It's not that you're blocked up there. Your grounding is nice too. You're just bringing in a lot of new energy. You could take a nap if you have time. If you don't have time, you could just unblock your third a little extra. You know, the front of your third chakra, the back of your third chakra. Nothing's really wrong. Like, you could work on your chakra alignment, maybe redo that. Chakra alignment and third chakra. Yeah, but you're just bringing in a ton of new energy. I think the happy adult self section was a big one. For you. It was very effective, especially effective. You could repeat that too later. You don't have to do it today, but you know, sometime. That happy adult self section. It was near the end of the healing. All right. Someone says, hi, Janet. After a past healing, you saw that I wasn't asking angel help to clear my classroom. Yes. I forget at the end of the day, but remember in the morning, I try to ground the room. Is that helping? You know what? You could give yourself a checklist for when you get in your car after work. So I'm assuming you drive to work. But if you take public transit, I guess that would be okay. Just double check what you have on the list to do, because you don't want to do huge things while you're in a public space like that. But if you're in your car, you know, just have a checklist, a daily checklist for after work. I think that would be better than just forgetting and waiting to do it, you know, in the morning, because you need to be fully at your best after work. You know, that's part of your complaints about your work, is that your work is smushing your personal life. But if you don't tie up your workday properly, then, you know, then you're just smushed all the time, and then you hate your job because you feel smushed all the time. You know? So on your, you know, to-do list in your car, you know, your post-work to-do list, like before you start the car, you know, before you go anywhere, you know, you could regrind yourself. You could ask your angels to clean out the classroom, ask your angels to clean out yourself, you know, melt cords between you and students, administrators, fellow teachers, and students' parents. You know, you can use a gold sun or some kind of 3D gold magnet to call back all your energy from your students, from the school building, from parents, from everybody. Have your angels double check it and give it back to yourself. There's a video. It's an old video, but yeah, you don't need it. You could just freestyle. You know, call back your energy. Cleanouts, angel cleanouts for the room and yourself and your car while you're at it. But anyway, but your question is your grounding of the room helping? Yes, but it's just, you know, too little, too late. It's better to do also stuff at the end of the day, because you want to have a life. But that was a read me kind of a thing. I would prefer that you self-assess, and rather than say read this. So just for future reference there. We're doing self-assessment validation now. I'm not reading everybody's stuff. So it says, thank you, Janet. I really like this new self-assessment work. Yeah, good. Oh, that same person. Oh, you got rid of the other. Good. Ha ha ha. Yeah. So yeah, self-assessment is where you have an issue and then you read what's going on yourself. And then you also read what you should do about it. Like all the stuff that you depended on me to do. But you don't have to depend on me to do. And it's much better if you get good at it yourself. So then you could restate it to me if you want. Like, this is my issue. This is my read on what's going on. This is what I'm going to do about it to work on it. Just so, and then I can double check your self-assessment. So I would be validating your self-assessment to help you get better and better at it. Okay, someone says, and my angels have been pushing me on the grounding. Haha, I have a weird mental block about unblocking it, like it's boring. LOL. Looking into why, and we'll do that more. There you go, self-assessment. Someone says, hey Janet, thank you for the healing. You're welcome. Can you share what my energy looks like? Any particular message from me, from my angels? Interesting. Well, I don't know who you are, but that is a very that feels like a new YouTube ID for me. So I'm going to assume that you're not one of the paying clients that just has a newly creative YouTube name. But I've never read you before. So you do get the newbie, the pure newbie excuse of saying, Janet, can you read something for me? I'll do that for you. But anyway, if I look at your energy, you're in 7 through 3. So you're present in, chakras 7, 6, 5, 4, and 3 right now. 2 and 1 astrally, they're okay physically. They just don't look as colorful, or they're kind of like subdued. So you could focus a little more on like healing. You could heal all your chakras, but especially like 2 and 1. So what is good videos that I have for that? Like, I do have a video called Get Present in Chakras 2 and 1. You can search for that. Janet Wright, Get Present in Chakras 2 and 1. That's a nice one. 1 and 2, 2 and 1. I don't know what I say, but it's Get Present in Chakras 1 and 2. And it basically does a lot of unblocking of your innermost auras and those lower 2 chakras. But as far as, you're on your path, like your spiritual path, the road, if you look at a road that represents what you're meant to learn this lifetime, and are you on it? Are you looking forward? Are you moving forward? As you are looking forward, you're on your path, you're looking forward. You do tend to walk forward on your path. Sometimes you kind of you do stop sometimes, but it's only for like half a day, and then you get going again, and you'll be kind of on a roll for like 4 or 5 days, but then maybe you'll stop for like a half day again. But then whatever it is you do, clear it. So you're not usually stuck for like a long time as far as like moving forward on your path. So as far as today, what might be most helpful for you to repeat, especially once the chapters are made within a day, they'll, by late tonight, there'll be chapters. So you'll be able to, see all the sections of what we did and hop to one or the other. Chakra alignment, there'll be a little chapter on chakra alignment. That could be nice, just so you can see the lower 2 and focus extra on them. Your auras are not bad. I mean, there's no significant rips in them right now. Yeah, I would say you could just comb through your auras a bunch, like especially the back of your auras. Like the front of your auras tend to be much stronger than the back of your auras. So maybe the back of your grounding, you could redo the grounding section, or just imagine it without the recording and just unblock the back more. Because once the back of your grounding is flowing better, then the back of all your auras can release better. So then it can start to strengthen more, but you can just use lots of gold light and just keep feeling the back of your auras. Yeah. I hope that helps. But yeah, as far as messages, your angels were just telling me what to tell you to work on. So that's good enough. We'll say that's good enough. All right. So I just have a couple more minutes. Someone have another self-assessment that they want double checked? If not, then I will go to thank you so much. You're welcome, of course. I will go to just the pet fun, look at my pet stories type final chapter of the live stream. So let's see, pet stories and Izzy Cam. Someone says, thanks, I had no idea about the astral ant issues. Well, cool. Yeah, so what that is just an example of too, as far as self-assessment is, like look at the questions, and if your self-assessment isn't solving your issue, then re-examine the self-assessment itself, like boil it down to the actual issue, the most pure form of the issue, and then look at what your assumptions are about that issue, like because you were assuming that was the self-assessment of it. But if you examine it just a little closer, because if your original self-assessment wasn't yielding you the results that you need, then re-examine your self-assessment. And two, it's just a natural thing where like, this isn't pet stories, whatever. It's a natural thing that, self-assessment. I hope that's how you spell self-assessment. That's probably not how you spell self-assessment. That's the problem with spelling live in front of everybody. There's probably a bunch of S's or whatever. Who cares? When you get a rip in your aura or an energy block in your aura, a whole bunch of people can pile in. So then when you later check and you find the rip, you might sense somebody's energy, and it's because their energy is so much in that rip, but they're just one of the invasive people that have piled in since the rip was created. But it's really easy, like when you're trying to repair the rip, you're like, you really get a sense of that person. So you're like, whoa. And so it's easy to assume that person made this rip. But, ask yourself that question, did that person make this rip, and then that'll open you up to, looking at it properly, looking at it with a little more accuracy. Because like I said, a lot of like I'll have an energy block in my space that's giant, and my mom is like all over it, but turns out it's a past life block that I had from a lifetime that she wasn't even around. It's just she's using it to kind of, get her energy in my space. So her energy's like all over that energy block, so in that case, who really cares, I guess. But it's maybe it's more relevant for the wax, like who's doing the whack, but also, then I might think, oh, my mom dumped this giant thing in my space, and no, she didn't. She might have if she could have, but she couldn't, so she didn't. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. No, all about self-assessment, getting more and more and more accurate with self-assessment. Good stuff. Okay, so now finally, pet stories. Okay, so pet stories for real this time. So BooBoo Kitty, our new cat, she is, oh, I don't have the video, but I'll make sure that I have it for next time. But BooBoo Kitty, she's a night owl, just like her dad, just like my husband Lorenzo. BooBoo Kitty is really her cat, is his cat, because like I just didn't want more responsibility. I was like, I'm fine with no cats, because all our cats passed away, and I was just like, enough's enough. I do so much. I just really need a break. But my husband, Lorenzo, really needed a cat. Like now. Like it just felt like, it was what he wanted, right? Which is fine. I was like, okay, fine, but you take care of this cat. So this is your cat, And so it's just funny that, because he's taking care of this cat, that they're kind of like bonding in a really funny way. And like my husband is pretty nocturnal. Like he stays up pretty late, like reading comic books and stuff, and doing his thing. And so BooBoo Kitty does too. BooBoo Kitty stays up late, and she paces around the house and does her little patrolling everywhere. And part of that is because Izzy, our dog, is in the cage. Like we like lock him up in this big roomy, comfy kennel of his. Because she's still afraid of him, kind of. Like she doesn't understand that he's totally gonna let her be in charge. Like she doesn't know that yet. So she thinks he's a scary dog, even though he's really not. He's gonna bow down before her the first chance he gets, but he just hasn't gotten the chance yet to show her how subservient he'll be to her. So anyway, but at night we make sure that he's not out, and she knows that. So she's patrolling and doing her thing. And it's just so funny because they're both so nocturnal, my husband and BooBoo Kitty. And so he was reading a comic book the other night, and BooBoo Kitty came in, and he had a scarf of his on the floor, and BooBoo Kitty started playing with it like this toy. And it was just so adorable because, play is a sign that the cat is very relaxed, and that she was able to get that relaxed in the room with him because she's very shy. She doesn't have a lot of recent people experience. Well, not positive people experience, I guess. So it's a good like sort of milestone that she spontaneously played, right next to him and right next to the chair that he was in. And she knew he was there and everything, and she just like played with this scarf of his for a while. And two, maybe it's symbolic too, because, well, not symbolic, but meaningful, that, I mean, the scarf smells of him, and so the fact that she was that comfortable, not only with him, but something that smelled of him, to like play around with it like it was a toy is kind of cool. So we purchased a whole bunch of toys now. That, I mean, we have one toy so far, but I used to volunteer at a cat shelter in Chicago, Treehouse Animals. The shelter, you could look up their website, treehouseanimals.org. And so I know like all the popular cat toys that were popular, at least at the shelter with the shelter cats. So I ordered a whole bunch of those. So within about a week, she's gonna have more toys than any cat, like in the neighborhood for sure. But anyway, so that's going to be cute. But so far, we do have the scarf video of her playing with the scarf. So I might try to upload that and show it to you next time. Like just have it loaded and ready to show you. Yeah, I don't think it's on my laptop, so it'd be too much work to show it to you right now. But anyway, it was cute and it's meaningful that, and then too, like when my husband's sleeping, like taking a nap, she'll be near him and she'll nap too. That's pretty cute. She's still like, we don't even try to pet her because she's very particular. Like when she used to eat like right next to us, we would have to start petting her like incredibly slowly when she was eating. If she was walking away and we tried it, she would like swat us because she thought we were doing something scary, so she's so particular about being touched that we don't even try now because we figure, well, let's just let her get much more comfortable and confident, and then we'll try more later. But it is adorable watching her bond with him more and more. So that's that. Izzy had he had a rough like day or two, and it was initiated unfortunately by a mistake that we made. We forgot to give her one of her pills. Forgot to give Izzy one of his pills. He takes epilepsy medication every 8 hours, and it has to be like on time. He can't miss a pill. If he misses a pill now, because he gets them made every 8 hours, it turns out this is the first time we've ever missed a pill since he's been on them every 8 hours. So he didn't have seizures, which was excellent. We didn't know that he was not going to, though, so it was very nerve-wracking for like a day and a half. But he did have what we're thinking is seizure-related behavior, where he kept licking the floor and hiccuping constantly and vomiting, and he couldn't keep anything down. So that took a while to get him through that phase. And even now we're like feeding him, like we super blend up his food now. I mean, it's like highly digestible food as it is, but like we blend it up like a ton before we give it to him. And then we give it to him in 3 portions, like at least a half hour apart, because he's still not totally cool. But we think because it happened right when he missed, right after he missed his seizure medication, we're thinking it's somehow seizure related, like how the nervous system and the digestive system are linked, in the body, and it's all kind of related. So, but anyway, but now we're being like super careful with, blending his food, and we're feeding him in 3 portions, and yada, yada. And we haven't missed a pill since then. And so he's a lot of work, but he's fortunately, other than having to eat in that super gradual way, and we can't leave water out because he'll binge it and then he'll barf it, So it's a lot of work, but it should only last a few days, we're thinking. We thought it would be over and he'd be over it, but he's still not over it. So we have to be very careful. But other than that, he's doing fine. He's not especially dehydrated or anything, because we do keep giving him water at like regular intervals, just like really specific amounts. So whatever, it is what it is. Life with a senior epilepsy dog. But that's that. So pretty much a happy house. I'm grateful. And it's the first day of spring. So I can show you him. I'll do Izzy cam. Oh, there he is right there. So he has his cone on and he's sleeping. I had to put his cone on him because he was messing with himself. But there he is. He's sleeping. Right. Enough pet stories. So I hope you guys are doing awesome. And I guess I'll end with my website address. And I'll make it big. And do confetti because my happy inner child likes that. Yay! Woohoo! All right, you guys. Bye. I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever's next for you. You're so amazing. Oh, and if you could give this live stream a thumbs up. Please, please, please. Thank you. Bye.